Hi, everybody. My name is Rance Collins. Welcome to the Gray Area. And today we have an exciting, up and coming, amazing young guy named Ben Sterling. Welcome to the
Hi
Gray
guys.
Area.
Hi. Thank you for having me. Amazing.
So, what we like to do on whenever we interview people here is we like to find out, what makes people tick, what their history is, all of that sort of thing. So, I'm going to ask you about what you're doing right now, but I also want to hear a lot about where you came from, how it happened,
Yeah,
all
cool.
that sort of thing. So, first of all, though, I just actually read another interview with you online about how you are starting your own label called
Yeah,
Project X, correct?
Planet X. Yeah, that's the
Planet
one.
X. I literally saw the word planet in my head and then I said project. I don't know why that happened.
Nah, it's fine. Do
Um,
you know what? It's still early doors, so it's still like brand new, and so it's all good.
so tell me, okay, you have been on some pretty impressive labels in the past. I mean, Moon Harbor, Edible. Why create your own label if you already have an in? Like,
Do you know
what's
what?
the
I think it's time for me now to kind of like open a new book, and I hear a lot of great music that I support and play, and just to kind of get a cool little vision that I wanted to like put across to young artists as well, because there's a lot of new music coming about everywhere in all angles, and I just feel like not many labels do pick up on it, and the labels that do pick up, it's very hard now because there's a lot of new music coming out, and certain new styles as well. So I wanted to kind of create a new platform for the young artists, emerging artists, and ones that we kind of hear already. And yeah, I just wanted to get a cool little feel because I'm really influenced by the whole 80s, 90s vision, like what happened back in the day, and it's always been a part of me. So like kind of creating like fun little label for everyone, and just to put out music, as a lot more music for me as well, because with every producer, because we have loads of music, it's not every single track is going to get signed, and it's not the label's fault or anything. It's just overwhelming with like music coming out of. So I just wanted to put a lot of my music out as well in on the label, and just try and push the new step into like the legacy of the new generation, I guess. So yeah, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to kick it off. I'm working on the EP now. It's gonna hopefully hit end of Feb, so nearest my birthday, and then yeah, and then it's gonna be pretty. I'm gonna push the hell out of it and make it look.
I wish I was
Yeah,
better at astrology. I would say something like, "Oh, you're a," but I don't. You're late
yeah.
February. Interesting.
Planets. Like I've always been into space and stuff, and I've always had a weird feeling about, I just love all that stuff. So I'm a bit of a little geek when it comes to sci-fi and all that stuff. So
Oh, so
I
you
wanted
are.
to.
Well, that at the end of the interview, we do a lightning round, and that gives me a question
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you in the lightning round. I'm not going to ask you right now because
Go
it has
for
to
it.
be a gut answer. But so okay, let's talk about that for a second, though, because sci-fi. To me, I've always thought of sci-fi films like the techno of movies. Do you
Yeah.
think that there is a correlation between being into space-centric movies and films and TV shows and music? Do you think that your interests have influenced where you've gone with
Yeah.
sound?
The crazy thing is, if you look at a lot of the old movies back in the 80s, where obviously after the whole space race, and everyone was just kind of like creating this whole new like art form, and like music came a part of that, and it was all this crazy modular synths when like the aliens kind of talk and all that crazy stuff. Just everything synthetic kind of made it made a whole art form in the 80s, and I just love how music kind of came from. That's when it kind of like all kind of kicked off. And like, for instance, like the Doctor Who theme song, that was all made. That was the first created synthetic track, and that obviously Doctor Who's a big thing in the UK.
I mean,
And
I have a lot.
we
I
love
mean,
it.
I know the basics. I know that they get regenerated every. There's been a bunch of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
But because I have
I
a
used to
friend
love
who's
all that
super into
stuff.
it. But how long that's been going on for like 50 years, right? And
Yeah,
UK.
and it was just such an influence. And like, I used to watch a lot of cartoons back in the day when I was a kid, and I wanted to create something fun, and I thought Planet X, just to be out this world, kind of, and also having the feeling of like listening to stuff that's kind of a bit different. I just wanted to, think of all aspects on it and create something really fun for like new people, new DJs and producers. So I'm really excited. I've also done the X Files, which is the kind of the evil sister label, which is very, very deep. It's more the deepest stuff of what Planet X is, but Planet X is going to be the fun, energetic, and then the X Files is going to be the kind of like hidden secrets. And yeah, so
So
yeah.
why the letter X, do you think?
So it's actually funny. So when I was a kid, my favorite episode, I used to watch Looney Tunes a lot. There was a episode with space. What was it? Daffy Duck and
Oh, yeah. What's the name of the?
Duck Dodgers, isn't it?
Yes.
And there was one episode where they actually go to Planet X, and that
I
was
remember this. Yes.
so the X is the Planet X. And also after X, hearing that, I kind of got the inspiration of X Files because of like the files of finding it. So it just had like a nice thing. There's nothing personal to me on X, but but I went really deep on if you really want to know the planet. The reason why the color purple is because it's my birthday's February, and it's the amethyst purple. So
Oh
I
yeah.
changed it into the whole purple. And green, I just love green because it just represents the whole alien world. So
Well,
yeah,
green is my favorite
that's
color, so thank you.
yeah, that's all right.
Actually, green is my I don't remember the name of my birthstone, but it is
Is it
green.
emerald?
It's not an emerald. It's a lighter green, I think.
Oh,
I'm in
like a
August.
turquoise green.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, just
Um,
but yeah, no, I love the whole. I just love being that kind of fun person,
well, I mean,
creativity wise. But yeah,
and I love like that's the things that I found so interesting is that the seed of art of an artist art, yeah, it happens way back here, and then
oh yeah,
you
it
know
influences you from such an early stage, and I just wanted to like, I kind of wanted to like live my childhood kind of thing, try and I still want to make it like cool, fun, and kind of mature, but that's not even a word, but I just made it up. So
maturic.
yeah,
Is that being
mature,
is that mature?
mature, yeah, basically.
A
But
maturic.
yeah, no, yeah, mature. It's a
I
new
like.
word.
I'm
I'll
going to
put it in
use
the
that
dictionary.
actually. I don't. If I put it in our article, I feel like they're going to take it out. But
I can go for it.
I'll make it a direct quote so they can't. Um, so let's go back to how you got started. I mean, you are creating your own label, which means that you can help people get their start. It kind of sounds like you
Yeah.
want to pay it forward in a way. Um, who's the person who picked you out of obscurity?
Oh, well, as in music wise.
How'd you get started? Who was your first
So,
label, et cetera, et cetera?
so my first label that kind of like kicked stuff off was Josh Butler for Origins Records. And it was a lot of, I'll tell you what, it was a lot of grafting. I don't know if you use that word. It's when you kind of you're just everywhere. You know, every single party. It's a lot of, especially in London. There's a lot of parties going on every single weekend. So going to all the clubs and just kind of mingling with all the nice, like all the great DJs and people, and just trying to like get your foot right in the door. And it's, you know what, it's a lot of I work part-time job, so having like a bit of the week where I can
Mhm.
kind of make music and just smash it. Even though my part-time job, I was like, I really need to get out of this job. I need to da da da. But having Josh kind of push it forwards, and then passed on the baton to Jamie Jones, and then after that, Edible, Lee Foss, Eats Everything, and then it just started blossoming into just crazy amounts of DJs, and everyone wanted to hear what I was doing, and yeah, it was a really beautiful time for me, and I love reminiscing on 2018 because that's when it all kind of like kicked off. And it was crazy enough because when I saw the first video of Jamie playing my track, um, in Time Warp, I thought that was it. I thought, you know what, he's played my track. Thank you so much. And I was like, that's enough. I was like, thank you. And then suddenly it was just after that, just constant, and it just spiraled into like a snowball of just everyone started playing. I was like, oh my god, what is going on?
Well, I mean,
Um,
that's how it
but yeah,
happens. You know, somebody with
yeah,
cachet
it's a
does
crazy
that, and
thing. All you need to do is hold on and make sure that like you've got enough tracks in the back to kind of like keep you going. But yeah, it's just if they're excited for what you're doing, just keep going, keep remembering why they're supporting you, and just always just be humble as well. Because a lot of the times you could go a bit the opposite way, and you could be like, oh, I'm the best in the world and all that stuff, and then suddenly you go from there to there. So yeah, just always stay humble as well when you're kind of pushing it to the top. And I'm very thankful for everything that's happened. So yeah.
um, oh shoot, hold. I have to
Sorry?
rewind in the conversation. I had a really good question, and I'm going back to it in my head. Um,
That's all right. Just a little
um,
tape rewind.
little tape rewinder because you said something that triggered a thought, and then the thought went away.
That's all right.
Um, I'll come back to it. I'll remember it in a second. Let me ask. Your musical influences. We talked a little bit about sci-fi movies and TV shows, and while I'm sure the theme from Doctor Who or whatever John Williams wrote for sci-fi movies did a lot for you. I've noticed in everything I've read about you that disco music is discussed. Um,
Yeah.
is that what your parents listened to? Were your parents musical?
So my dad was very into electro pop, so Duran Duran, Gary Newman,
Mm-hmm.
all the kind of it was more into like the like English pop, and then my mum was very into like Balearic Ibiza, and it kind of just merged together, and I was born. But no, it was great because every time I went to school, my mum always put in the CDs of like you know, it was a lot of like progressive house at the time, so there was a lot of that. And then my dad also like showed me all of his old school tapes that he used to listen to back in the day. So there was just so many influences just happening at once. But it was nice to know that when I was in school, like every single time I got picked up, I never listened to like chart stuff. I always listened to Balearic Ibiza or electro pop, and it was just imprinted in my brain. And that was it.
Do you
But
think that did you have like a certain like growing up as somebody who felt very different from everybody I went to school with? Did you did you take a pride in being different? Where you're like, I'm gonna
yes,
double down on being different.
so I came from like a whole history of well, I came from a school where everyone listened to like UK grime or hip hop, like you know, like
Hmm.
Drake when he first started and all this kind of stuff. And I know that everyone was kind of doing it, and I kind of wanted to go, do you know what? Like everyone's doing it. And then there was even the time when I went to Holland. My dad took me to because I wanted to try and get into like the whole EDM caught a sound. And this was when I was like 15 or something, or 16. And they even said to me there, like, everything that's coming out of the UK now is going to be the new hot thing, like the deep house, the tech house industry. And I said, you know what, like, I'm going to look back, but if anything, I just look back in the history of house music. And there was a cool documentary that really just changed the way I kind of look at house and acid house and what it is today. I think it was called Pump Up the Volume. It was on Channel 4 in the UK. If you ever have time to watch it, it's amazing. I couldn't fall asleep. It was constant, just everything that I found out was interesting. I went through the Chicago house, how it went to Detroit techno, and then how it came over to Manchester and the Hacienda and went into London, the illegal rave scene.
It was filmed in the 2000s, like 2001, I think. And it's you can see Carl Cox. There's Paul Oakenfold in there as well. There's a lot of like classic DJs in there in their prime, and it's just really interesting just to see how it kind of like grew. And after that, I just really wanted to keep the acid house, kind of electronic kind of vibe in my sets, and try and just change it a bit.
I find that so interesting because I feel like there's a lot of artists in every field who do not have a interest or knowledge or respect of what came before, and they don't research that. When I think that, I feel like history is what informs great work, if that makes any sense.
It is very important. Yeah, it's so important.
Go ahead.
I reckon. Sorry. I was just going to say it's very important in the industry to kind of know where everything comes from. I feel like it's all good making music, or like, oh, I just heard a new tune that such and such played and I wanted to make something similar. It's all good, but having the kind of knowledge on what makes house, what makes tech house, what makes acid house, what it is today, so important. Because you could just go off on a tangent and then suddenly you just get stuck and you're like, oh, well, I can't make music like this guy anymore and I sound like him. How do I change it? And it's always good just going back and just at least learning all that stuff. Sorry, Gary, my bad.
No, that's exactly, you said exactly what I wanted you to say. So okay, let's talk a little bit about what you got going on now. We talked about your label. That's incredible. The last couple of years, you may have noticed there was like a whole thing that happened that put the entire world on pause. Did that have a big, I mean, it seems like, particularly in 2018, 2019, you were in this trajectory that was awesome. How did the pandemic slow you down? How did you persevere and get to the place where you did a North American tour last?
So I'll be honest, when it did hit, it kind of made it like, oh, do you know what? I have a time to now make music. I'm not really touring and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But then it kind of also got to the point where you was thinking, is this going to end? Am I going to DJ anymore? Am I going to
We're still thinking that.
And you know what? It was just a lot of, I was around Latmans a lot. I mean, him just made a lot of music, and we kind of created this whole like evil tech house deep kind of thing. And we just kind of we wanted to like show that kind of emotion that we was all trapped just producing. But it really did influence. It did really like affect a lot of producers. A lot of people, you think, oh, they're going to be making a lot of music, but really we kind of think, why are we making music? Because we can't play it on the weekend. We don't even know if we have a job anymore. It was kind of a really dark time. I spent a lot of money in my studio, and it kind of just got to the point where we just really just hoping for the best and holding on. So, but we came on there. Sorry.
When were you able to? When were you able to do a set again? Like when? What do you remember? What the first one back was?
It was strange because the first one was, it started getting all these rules that we kind of had to follow and respect. And do you know what? Shout out to a lot of the clubs around the world for like listening to like what they had to do, and like they were even losing a lot of customers because some customers didn't really understand why they were doing. Oh, why am I 2 feet away? Why am I in a box and I can't see my friends? And it was like, guys, they need to survive. They need to like live and breathe
Help them.
for tomorrow.
Yes.
Just like, I always try to respect as much as possible. There's sometimes when there's a lot of people, and you're dealing with like people that are drunk as well, and having to tell them, oh guys, please do this for me, for the club, and they're like, oh, but I want to see my friends, I want to party, I want to keep going.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the first time I played, it was a bit upsetting because I knew everyone wanted to party. I knew the clubs didn't want to do this rules, and but we had to just follow everything so we can see another day in the clubs that we have, and some clubs have pushed through, some haven't, and those are really sad because as much as like the government funding, or some governments didn't even fund or help, and yeah, it was just a big struggle. But a lot of people came through, a lot of people didn't, and sorry for the loss of a lot of the clubs and everything else in hospitality. It's a lot of the hospitality, it's not just our industry, but a lot of everywhere it's happened. So it's crazy.
I mean, for real though, but even so, you were able to do a North American tour this fall.
Yeah.
Or
Sorry,
fall into winter. I'm like, and happy, something happy.
Yeah.
How did that come about, and where all did you go?
So yeah, November happened. I amongst the whole crazy stuff that happened, there was I did a track that seemed to get everyone kind of going again, which I'm happy that everyone's kind of been playing it as a Dimensions track, and that was really fun doing that. And yeah, it kind of blossomed a whole kind of tour in November, and I wanted to like see everywhere, go to everything. Started in Mexico, then Costa Rica, then I went over to San Diego. I came to LA, and then went to the opposite coast. Oh, sorry, Las Vegas, Seattle, and then I went to Boston, New York, and then Texas, Miami. Yeah, sorry, that's how it went.
Where in Texas did you go?
I was in Houston. I was playing at Bauhaus. Is it? That was really fun. Obviously, the time that I picked November when you guys celebrate Thanksgiving, and as someone coming from the UK, I have no idea how big it was. And you know what? It's a lovely time to kind of celebrate with the family. So completely understand. But yeah, no, it was.
Did anyone offer you turkey while you were?
Yeah, I had.
Okay. Did you get a Thanksgiving meal?
Oh yeah, I had it with my manager, and I had it with Dennis Cruz as well. It was his first Thanksgiving, so yeah, that was quite fun. And our friend John as well. So it was a nice little Thanksgiving. So yeah, my first one.
A quaint little celebration with those colonies that separated from you all those years ago.
Nah, exactly.
What's the next thing on the docket for you?
So I've got a South American tour in January, and then I'll be back in America in March to do the whole Miami Music Week. And this time around, should happen. Hoping, praying, and I'm looking forward to being back.
Florida doesn't cancel anything. You don't have to worry about Florida.
I remember 2020. That was when everything was like, oh God, this is it. This is happening. But yeah, but now I'm looking at a brighter future, and now I kind of have something to look forward to as well when I'm making music, because I feel like I'm thinking positive compared to like how it was in 2020, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking now we're kind of a bit more alert. We know what's going on. We know how to kind of tackle it a bit better, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the future, and then hopefully Ibiza as well.
Hmm.
And I've got new agents now where we're going to just be tackling the whole globe. But yeah,
Watch
there's
out everywhere.
a lot
Watch out, Antarctica. We got.
waiting for the penguins.
You know, they need music too. I understand.
I know. I know. Can't wait to play there. It'd be great.
Amazing. Okay, so what I do before we sign off every interview is I just do a series of rapid fire questions of kind of ridiculous, just either or type of things, or
Amazing.
first thing that comes to head. So
Oh,
this
this
is
bad.
all right. So just the
I'll just
first
play
thing.
random stuff as well.
Okay. Who was your favorite artist as a kid?
As a kid, Calvin Harris probably.
Okay. Do you prefer LA or New York now?
Oh,
I won't. My feelings will not be hurt if you prefer New York.
I haven't had a chance properly to play in both. I've kind of just done the one off, and there's obviously still COVID, so I can't really say much yet. Is that okay? Just because
Yeah,
I
that's
know
fine.
I'm giving it a fair chance, both of, and I love both. I love both.
Okay. Thank you. Would you rather have telekinesis or telepathy?
Oh, probably telekinesis would be fun.
Interesting.
I think if I
Because you
had
can move.
telepathy, it would kind of drive me insane, knowing that everyone's thoughts. You know, some of them could be really bad. So
Yeah, it's better just be
having
clueless.
the thing just to move stuff around would be fun, because I can just tidy up my room more, or I could DJ without being on the decks. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
for real. That would be the COVID safe right there. You could just okay, so would you rather be forced to sing every time you heard a song or dance every time you heard a song?
By who am I being forced by?
The gods.
I don't mind. I like both. I would probably do both.
But you
Do
can
I
only do
dance?
one. You would
I like
dance,
dancing.
okay.
Yeah, I think singing can get annoying sometimes especially with my voice. I don't think people would like it. They'll kind of be like, I can't really deal with this guy. I think dancing, you can still move, and you can still do your everyday thing. Everyone will think you have a twitch, but it's all good. I don't mind that.
Okay, would you rather have the ability to fly or have super strength?
Oh, but you know what, the feeling of flying is I feel like that's such a beautiful thing. I wish we could do what birds can do. But I think strength is amazing, but sometimes you could accidentally not know your strength and do some serious damage. I think flying would be better. 100%.
That's a good point.
Right, I
Okay,
went
this
really deep
is
there.
would you rather never have AC or heating again? No air conditioning, no heating, or
Oh.
never have internet again?
Probably never have internet again.
Because you'd rather be comfortable.
Honestly, if it depends where I am, but yeah, if I had no internet ever again, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I think I'll just go back to like how the 90s used to be, or the 80s, where you just knock on people's doors and say, "Hello, how are you? It's Ben.
I
Do you
mean,
want
I
to come out?"
remember, I barely remember those days, but they were
I
normal.
miss knocking on people's doors, but yeah.
I do. Yeah, no, that's a lost art, knocking on the door. Okay. Do you remember the first album you bought?
Oh God. Oh, I think it was Michael Jackson, probably.
Classic. Do you remember
I've forgotten exactly which one, but it was the one with him going like that, laying down, or on the side.
It's not. Is that Thriller?
I think it was
No,
Thriller.
Thriller's he's on the car, isn't he?
Oh,
I think.
But it's the one where he's like this, and he's like, he's just being Michael Jackson. Oh, I love Michael Jackson. I think that's everyone's influence. That's the problem.
I mean, everything changed in the 80s when he came around. Would you rather live in autumn or spring?
Spring, because it's gonna happen summer. Gonna happen. And it's nice to see everything blossom again. Autumn's when everything starts dying.
And finally, because of your love of sci-fi,
yeah. Oh God.
Are you team Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Star Wars, awesome.
Do you know what? I gave Star Trek a good go. I actually I like Stargate as well. That's another one that not many.
Anything with Star in the title, but
with the guy with that thing on his head.
I haven't seen as much.
You never watched it?
I didn't watch it much. Yeah, but I mean I know it. You know, my parents were big Star Trek people, but I think I prefer Star Wars. So
I like Star Wars because who was first, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek. They were a TV show in the 60s.
They were first.
Yeah.
And then
like 10 years later,
do you know what? I feel bad. Oh, sorry to all the Star Trek fans.
Well, I mean, they're different. They're not the same. They just both take place in space.
Yeah, one's a whole knighthood of, one's like old-fashioned sword fighting with a bit of guns. The other one's just guns, I guess.
Yeah, well, and space exploration and
that one
mission.
Yeah, because it doesn't really show like in Star Wars if there was ever like an actual Earth. The Star Trek kind of show that there was an Earth.
Well, I mean, who knows if it existed yet because they're in a galaxy
far
away a long time ago.
Oh, you got me there.
See, it's the first line in literally every single Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I always thought of that in the back of my head. Was there ever like an Earth? Because
that's a good question. Well, the Earth exists in Star Trek, but because they're all from
Star Trek,
Earth in there. Yes, but with Star Wars, that's not the. But I will say, I think the other thing about Star Wars is, whenever like Force Awakens came out a few years ago, or The Last Jedi, being in a movie theater and a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and everybody going crazy. That's something you don't get. Yeah, that music, you don't get that. I love
seeing everyone scream at that. That was funny.
That was incredible.
I didn't kick my chair. That was great.
I mean, there's only a few things that cause people to collectively do that kind of thing. So.